guys, welcome back to the video. It's Ben, and today we're going to be doing a video on how to tint a window. So in this video, we're going to be tinting a Toyota Venza front side window. We're going to keep the liners on, so we'll show you how to tuck underneath the liner, and we're also going to show you how to hand cut the window as well. Okay guys, so the first thing we're going to do is quickly clean the outside of the window, just to get all the debris and everything else off of it. Okay guys, so this is a scrap piece that we have. We just did the other side of the window, or on a different card. So we're going to be using the other half of the tint to tint this side. So the first thing we're going to do is quickly spray it down and get it nice and wet. And then we're going to lay the tint onto it. So what we're going to want to do is, with the factory edge, keep the factory edge at the bottom. And we're going to slide it down right to the very bottom. Line up both sides, make sure they both fit. And there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start the cutting. We're going to get this right off onto the edge here. Line up like that. I'm going to quickly scrape down this window and just to hold it in place. And then I'm going to cut this side real quick. I'm going to start at the top. Just get the blade out just a little bit, stick it right into the liner, then go down with it. Okay, and then now that we've got this side good, we're going to go on to the other side here. The first thing we're going to do is shift this over about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. This is so none of the edges are showing when we lay it onto the inside of the window. And then with this side, I'm going to bend this mirror back. Usually I'll start at the top or bottom, it doesn't really matter. I'll get it in there and go right down to the bottom and then rip it outwards. That's so when we cut the top, anything I ripped isn't in the way of what's going to be on the window. So now the next step is we're going to shift it over back into the middle just a little bit. Just shift it so both sides are even. And then we're going to slide it down just a little bit here. So we're going to slide it down about 1/2 inch or so, and that's what's going to be going behind the liner. Okay, so we're going to open up the door and have this out, and then now we're going to cut the top edge. So to do that, we're going to roll down the window and then get a perfect cut along the side. So what we're going to do is you're going to hold the bottom and leave it out just a little bit so that when a window rolls down, it doesn't crumple or anything like that. So we're going to roll it down. You're going to want to roll it down so the top of the window you've got about 2 inches or so. And now we're going to cut the top of the window. So we're going to start on one of the edges. You can start on either side. And the first thing you're going to do is you are going to tack the top and make sure it's nice and tight onto the window. So you can grab any one of your cards. One of the softer ones is better to prevent the creasing. So we're just going to go over that real quick, just to get that all onto the window there. And then I'm going to start the cut. So I'm going to start right in the edge with just a little bit of my blade, and you're going to get it in there. And you're going to go along the edge, top, with your finger in front of it, just to hold down the tint to make sure it's perfect and nothing moves. And you go all the way to the edge, and then you're going to rip it up on both sides. Rip it up like that. Okay, so now we're going to take the tint off of the car to cut the edges. So I'm going to take it off and just quickly respray the window to make sure it tacks again. And we're just going to be cutting the edges. So if you get the edge up here, I'm just going to use one of my cards and then get a straight line and go right across with it to get the edge nice and straight to go with the rest of the car. So that's going to come off just like that. And then I'm going to do the other side as well. I'm going to get this edge here. I'm going to go along with the edge, straight up. And then we've got this as well, so I'm going to go across the top. Just like that. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is clean the inside of the window. So what I'm going to do is just put this onto one of the back windows, just to keep it there while we're cleaning the inside of the front window here. for cleaning now, what we're gonna do is we're first gonna clean the top edge. So just get a little bit wet, the top edge. I'll usually go over it with one of my microfiber rags. Just clean the top of it, just like that. And then I'm gonna quickly blade the inside of the window. I've got this blade here to scrape it in case there's any debris that's stuck or anything like that. So I'm gonna quickly go over it. Getting all that debris off. Then the next thing I do is I'm gonna go with this card here, the squeegee, and clean off that top. So I'm gonna go from the top all the way down, across the side to the edge, just like that. And then with everything on the side, I'm gonna get this right into the edge and go straight down with it to take all the debris out on both sides. Now I'm going to roll the window back up and clean the bottom section. I'm going to quickly spray this again. Go over it with the squeegee. And then usually I'll grab this card here and go press it hard against the thing just to get all the soap out of the edges. So I'm going to stick that into the edge and go straight down with it. You can use any kind of card that'll fit under there. Something that's a bit spongier might be a little bit better. And I'm going to do that for both sides. Right down just to get all that debris out. And also to get the debris out, I'm going to go down. And that kind of just washes all the debris that's in there out and down. And I'll do the same on that side. And then also for the bottom, I'm going to spray it real quick. And just wipe down with this all the way across to get all that little debris out that might be hiding there. And then I'm gonna go one more time, just gonna lift up the liner and just spray down, just to make sure that any of the debris that's there is gonna go down underneath the liner where nobody can see it. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start to apply the tint. I'm gonna lower the window just about 2 inches or so. I'm gonna spray the window. I'm gonna get everything all wet on it. And now I'm gonna go over to my tint that I have. And I'm gonna split this top to get the liner off the tint. I'm gonna have this go all the way down. And then you're gonna wanna leave about a couple inches or so at the bottom that you're not gonna be tucking right away. And you're gonna wanna spray this down. So now I'm gonna start to apply the tint. I'm just gonna go one more time over with the brush. And we're gonna grab the tint here. Grab it on the very edge that's gonna be behind the liner. And then you're gonna wanna go with your hand on the back, just like that, and grab this edge. And then we're gonna start to apply the top here. You're gonna first lay it onto the top, lay it all down. And as you can see, this liner here will protect the bottom half from touching the bottom of the window or the door. So I'm gonna slide this up. Sometimes it can be a little bit sticky. And we're gonna wanna make sure that both edges are covered. So you're gonna stick it in just a little bit on both sides, make sure both sides are even. Just like that. And just leave a little bit of a gap at the top. The smaller the gap, the better though. And then I'll usually just check on the other side to make sure that both sides are covered. So if I come along this side here, it might be hard to see in the camera, but you can tell that there's not gonna be any type of gap on this side. And on this side, there's no gap as well. So the next thing that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab this one here, the squeegee. I'm gonna spray down this window. And I'm gonna hold the top with one hand and then slowly squeegee the top just to make sure that it doesn't shift or anything like that. I'm gonna go across with it to get all the bubbles out. Bring everything off to the side. And then with this yellow card here, I'm gonna go up the edge to get all the little bubbles out, right up, just like that. And on this side as well, I'm gonna put this right in and squeegee out all the bubbles. Usually after I do that, I'll go over it just one more time just to double check, make sure that there's no little bubbles or anything like that on the top. Because if there are any bubbles at the top, you can't roll down the window again to get at them, so it can be a little bit challenging. So you want to double check and make sure that the top is perfectly good with no bubbles at all. And then I'm gonna always make sure that it's not moving, so that when I shift up the window, the tint doesn't move down at all. So I'm gonna just hold it and put a little bit of pressure on the window as it goes up. So it's gonna go up just like that. Now the next step that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna peel it back like this and spray the inside of the window. I'm gonna spray the sides one last time in case there's any debris underneath the door liner. It'll just get rid of all the debris like that. Now I'm gonna slowly make sure that I'm gonna hold the tint right here and pull down on the liner as it goes across, just to make sure that the top doesn't peel off at all. I'm gonna slowly go across, pulling out this liner, or the tint cover. And so the next thing I'm gonna do on the sides is I'm just gonna spray the back, and I'm gonna pull it up, and where it's gonna be crumpled a little bit, you're gonna pull it up past that, and slowly, I'm gonna first start with the edge and slowly get it behind the liner. I'm gonna get this one here below the edge and just get that under and tucked. Make sure it's flat against the window and just go down with it just like that. Then what I'm gonna do is in the middle here, sometimes it'll go down like this. You're gonna refold it up so the tint can sit flat on the window. And as I go across, I'm gonna try and tuck the tint underneath. Sometimes it can be a little bit tricky with the soap that you're using to get it underneath. Sometimes you might need to add a little bit more soap if it's not sticking. And then when I get to about the middle here, I'm gonna push this side up, and with this crumple, I'm gonna go a little bit past that, right here. Go up like that, so that's not crumpled anymore. And then I'm gonna get this corner in, so I'm gonna put this out and get this corner in. You can usually push it just down like that and get that all underneath the liner. Then I'm gonna go across one last time to make sure it's all underneath the liner. And sometimes these little bubbles, if the liner's really tight, sometimes it is tough. You'll have to get the squeegee right underneath there and really push it down. You can use your hand or you can use something else. Okay, so now that I've got the liner all tucked under, the tint tucked underneath the liner, with all the bubbles and everything like that, I'm gonna start at the top and go off to the sides. This is gonna be bringing any of the excess off to the sides rather than the bottom. I'm gonna go across all the way. And you're gonna bring everything off to the side, just like that. And then at the sides, I'm gonna go with this yellow one. You're gonna wanna make sure it's clean so nothing scratches the tint. And you're gonna get that right in the edge and push down with all of that water. And then same with on the other side. I'm gonna go in and down with everything. And be careful taking it out to make sure that the side doesn't peel at all. And then one last time, I'm gonna go underneath at the very bottom. I'm gonna make sure that the top's not touching it to scratch it, and just go right underneath, just like that there. And now I'm just gonna push any little thing out. And I'm gonna go over it one last time with this. I'm gonna spray it down real quick to get rid of any small little bubbles that might still be there. Usually I'll just go over this just for reassurance. I'll spray the whole window down and then start at the top and just push anything that might be there out. And then one last time, I'm gonna go over the whole sides, just in case there's anything there. I'm gonna go down with that on the top, and go down with that there. And there you have it. I'm gonna quickly wipe down the window, and for example, you see this right here. You might be able to see it better on the outside. What I'm gonna do is grab this yellow one here, get it out, and you're gonna wanna push it down if you have any of those. If they're big, you might have to heat shrink it from the outside. But in this case, it doesn't seem like we'll have to do that at all. So I'm gonna check all the edges now. Everything looks good. I've got a little thing in this corner here. I'm gonna push that out. Push any little thing out. And then wipe it down, and there you go, guys. That's how you hand cut a window and tuck it underneath the liner. I'm gonna wipe this down really quickly, and then I'll show you guys the aftermath. Okay guys, so this is the finished window here. As you can see right here, there's just a little bit of a finger. The liner was already messed up before we got it, so we don't really have to worry about that. We do have to worry about not messing it up anymore, so we're gonna be really light on the heat. And then we're gonna use a little bit of heat on the outside here and use this. You can use this one or a pink card that are specifically made for getting out little creases like this. And we're just gonna push it out. Okay, so I'm gonna grab my heat gun here. I'm gonna use this hard card. And I'm just gonna heat this up. I'm gonna be watching the liner to make sure that it's not overheating. I'm gonna get a bit of heat around it. And then with this card, I'm gonna go in with the liner and just push that right out. It might be a little bit hard to see on camera. And there we go, it's all gone, just like that. Okay guys, in most cases, you're gonna have to heat shrink the tint to the window. In this case, I knew that the window was really flat at the bottom and it didn't curve much around. So I knew that I wasn't gonna have to do it with this car, but most cars you will have to. So if you wanna learn how to heat shrink the side window, hit the link in the description below where we're gonna have a video on specifically that.